Right now, somewhere in the world, a grown adult is crying into a bowl of chips because a man he's never met missed a penalty kick. His face is painted, his voice is gone, his entire weekend, maybe his entire week, is ruined. Not because anything happened to him personally, but because 11 strangers lost a game. And you watched the notification pop up. You felt absolutely nothing. Maybe you even laughed a little. Here's the thing nobody is saying out loud. There is a quietly large group of people who simply do not care about sports. Not a little. Not at all. And every single day, they get looked at like something is wrong with them. You don't watch football. What do you even talk about? You didn't see the game. How? Stay with me. In fact, a study of over 4,000 people found that those who don't follow sports share a surprisingly specific set of psychological traits, and one of them is linked to higher intelligence. Because what neuroscience is now revealing about people who don't obsess over sports will completely change how you see yourself and how you see the people who do. Let's get one thing out of the way immediately. Not caring about sports does not mean you're boring. It doesn't mean you lack passion. It doesn't mean you're cold or antisocial or missing some fundamental human chip. It might actually mean the opposite. But before we get there, let's understand what's actually happening in the brain of someone who does obsess over sports. Because once you understand that, everything clicks. Humans are wired for tribes. For most of human history, your survival depended on belonging to a group. Your tribe fed you, protected you, fought for you. Being cast out wasn't embarrassing, it was a death sentence. That survival wiring never left. It just found new containers. Sports teams are modern tribes with better jerseys and worse food. When a fan watches their team play, their brain releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, the same chemical that makes you feel connected to your family, your best friend, the people you die for. Their brain is literally treating these millionaire strangers like family. And when the team wins, testosterone levels in male fans spike, the same spike that happens after a real personal victory. Their brain does not know the difference between watching someone else win and winning themselves. That's not passion. That's biology running a very old program on very new software. Now here, where it gets interesting. People who don't obsess over sports, and research actually backs this up, tend to show what psychologists call lower tribal instinct activation. Their sense of identity isn't as dependent on group membership. They're less likely to feel like a winner because someone wearing their city's colors scored a goal. A 2019 study found that people with low sports interests showed significantly less us versus them thinking. Translation: they don't automatically hate someone just because they support a different team. Their self-worth isn't riding on an outcome they can't control. That's not a weakness. That's actually a more stable psychological foundation. But wait, it gets weirder. Because here, what's actually happening neurologically in a sports fanatic's brain during a live game, and it's genuinely concerning when you lay it out plainly. You know that feeling when you're about to open a gift? That electric anticipation. That's dopamine firing in your brain's reward prediction system lighting up before the reward even arrives. Sports fans get that hit on every single play, every possession, every near miss. It's a constant drip of microdoses of anticipation and reward over and over for hours. fMRI studies show that watching your team activates the same reward centers as gambling. And here's the part that really matters: the uncertainty is the point. You don't know if they'll win. That unpredictability is what keeps the dopamine flowing. Psychologists call it intermittent reinforcement, the most powerful and addictive reward schedule known to behavioral science. It's the exact same mechanism that makes slot machines impossible to walk away from. Now notice something. People who don't care about sports, their dopamine systems simply aren't triggered by watching other people compete. It's not that they have less dopamine. It's that their brain doesn't classify vicarious competition as a reward. And here's something that might be in your DNA. Research from the University of Chicago found that variations in dopamine receptor genes can actually predict how strongly someone responds to competitive spectator activities. Your complete indifference to whether a team wins or loses, that might be written into your biology. Here's something that sounds completely contradictory. Sports fans often score higher on certain empathy measures. They've trained their brains to care deeply about other people's outcomes, even strangers. They feel the strikers miss like it happened to them. So why don't non-sports people feel that same empathy for athletes? It comes down to what psychologists call empathy allocation. Everyone has a limited emotional bandwidth, a finite amount of deep caring to give. People who don't invest that bandwidth in sports aren't emotionally closed off. They're directing it somewhere else, into relationships where the other person actually knows them, into creative work where their effort directly shapes the outcome, into causes where their caring actually changes something. A 2021 study found that people with low sports interest scored significantly higher in openness to experience, a personality trait linked to creativity, intellectual curiosity, and appreciation for art, music, and ideas. Their brains are seeking the exact same things sports fans are seeking: meaning, connection, transcendence. They're just finding it somewhere that finds them back. Now notice something about language. When a sports fan's team wins, they say, "We won." When their team loses, they say, "They lost." Did you catch that? Same team, different pronoun depending on the outcome. Psychologists call this birging and corfing, basking in reflected glory and cutting off reflected failure. It's an unconscious psychological move to protect self-esteem. Absorb the wins, distance from the losses. People who don't obsess over sports are much less likely to do this. Their self-concept doesn't fluctuate based on external outcomes they didn't cause. Their self-esteem is more stable, less dependent on things completely outside their control. That quiet stability, that's not nothing. So what does all of this actually mean? If you've never felt the pull of sports, if you've sat in a room full of screaming fans and felt like you were watching a documentary about a foreign culture, you're not broken. You're not boring. You're not missing something. Your brain's reward system just doesn't treat vicarious competition as meaningful. Your tribal instincts are calibrated differently. Your empathy flows toward different things, and your sense of self doesn't need a scoreboard to stay intact. You're not playing a lesser game. You might just be playing one with higher personal stakes, one where the outcome actually depends on you. The next time someone looks at you sideways for not knowing the score, remember that. Your brain isn't defective. It's just running a different program. And honestly, it might be the more interesting one. If this resonated with you, you're going to want to watch this next video, because it breaks down why people who prefer being alone aren't antisocial at all. Their brains are actually processing the world on a completely different level, and it might explain more about you than you expect. Click it now.